right, here we go. OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker. Up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. How we feeling? Beautiful Tuesday here in Toronto. Yeah. Beautiful, stunning outside.
Did you guys?
Are you ready to move on? Are you ready
No.
to move on? Are you?
Yeah, it's one of those. It is a weird day today, isn't it? I was thinking about that. Yesterday, obviously, a lot of reflection, a lot of predictions, a lot of people wondering how we got here, not only with the Maple Leafs, but the Toronto sports scene in general. And I will say that has continued today. The news on Chad Kelly certainly is not a positive one. Serious story. He's been suspended at least 9 games for the Argos. There's another thing Keith Pelly might have to talk about on Friday. I'm not sure. But, it's interesting where it comes quick, right? You realize, all right, the Leafs are just done. They're done, and who knows what happens this week. We'll find out. And obviously there will be activity over the summer like there always is. Team that wins the Stanley Cup has turnover and change. The team that's dead last has turnover and change. The Leafs will be no different. But I do kind of wish that press conference was happening an hour ago.
Yeah.
Right. I don't really want to have to wait till Friday morning to know what Keith Pelly and Brendan Shanahan and Brad Treliving have up their sleeve.
What's the Friday thing? Is that for the news dump element of it or what?
I don't think it can be because it's in the morning, right? Like they're not doing it at 5 p.m. It's not some sort of press release that's going out, last. There must be something. There's some reasoning for it. It could be we're going to wait for the dust to settle here. We're going to let people just kind of fade on the Leafs, and then that might be the play if you want to bring everyone back, which is possible. It really is possible.
I don't think it is. I'm telling you, and I know, Brian, you're going to argue till you're blue in the face. You can't do that.
I know.
But there
Noodles,
might be.
The point is, what's the harm? Because I was talking to my buddy Lamont today, and he goes, they're going to keep going to the rink. It's not like they're going to be like, I think everyone brings up Montreal, where if they go in the tank, they just don't go to the game. I don't know if that's true or not, but that ain't happening here.
No, it's probably not. It's probably not. But still, what are you selling? Like, what is your fan base thinking? What is your clientele thinking? I mean, the people that show up, they're spending a lot of money. A lot of money to be there and to support a team that's supposed to be actively chasing success. They do the same thing every year, Hazy. They say, I can't believe these guys. I can't believe this is happening. And then comes September, they're like, go Leafs, go. That's what happens.
I get that, but every year there has been, we'll call it slight change. Not to the players on the ice, not to the core, but there has, last year at this time, we were talking about a Dubas extension, and within 48 hours, it's like he's out. And, Brad Treliving is in. That was a big situation there. But we thought that Tree was going to come in, but and change everything. He did, as far as some of the players he was able to shape around the core. I think there is change, but the change might be, hey, we're moving the coach out. And we're clear, there's always going to be something where they can point to and go, there's the change. My question is there going to be change on the ice within the spine of the team? That's the zillion-dollar question for me.
Right, and they're not going to have that answer by Friday. They wouldn't have that answer today.
Nope.
Right? You're not going to show your cards to the whole league. We're dying to get rid of guys. Please call us and offer us nothing.
Right.
They're not going to operate that way, nor should they. They can't be emotional here. They have to analyze things. They have to figure out which way they want to take this, not only for next year, but you're talking 3, 5, 10-year plans. These are pillars of your organization. These are marquee players. If we're talking the spine, we're talking the 5 guys who have been here the longest. We know who they are: Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Riley. That's your core. That's your spine. Those 4 of them were at the All-Star game. The other one's your captain. That's your team. Everything else comes and goes. And there has been a ton of change everywhere else.
Right.
There's only been 2 coaches, and I guess technically, 3 GMs because Lamoriello was here. So Lou and Dubas and Treliving. But they've tried everything else. Different wingers, different D pairings, different goalies. They've had it all except for those 5. And that will ultimately determine how much they're willing to change, because Keith coming and going is just standard practice in pro sports. That will have a tangible effect on things, right? It'll be someone you see every day You hear from every day, different voice, different approach, different system, different accountability, different everything. Like the whole mood of a team generally is dictated by the coach because that's the guy you see and hear every single day. Right. So, yes, that would have a tangible effect on what's going to happen. I think they might move on Keefe, but I thought the same thing last year and they didn't. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But for me, it's deeper than that. That's all completely irrelevant unless one of those 5 players, the core 5, and I think multiple, turn over and they move in a different direction.
If anyone thinks it's just one guy going out, wrong.
Right,
well, totally wrong.
And again, it's not the one guy's the problem, or that's the guy that's the issue. That's not the issue. That's not what we're talking about here at all.
It's about getting something different to try it.
That's how you philosophically change, because that 5-pack has been here for 6 years, and 4 of them have been here for 8. That's the point. It's like those guys have been here the whole time as the face, as the spine, as the marquee. And in reality, again, as the dust settles and emotion subsides, Marner, Tavares, they have no movement clauses. They don't have to do a thing.
But don't you think, when I found out they were rumored to be trading me in Carolina, I was like, get me the hell out of here. If you don't want me, I don't want to play for you. Doesn't that cross their mind? Who would want to say, screw you, I'm staying? That doesn't, I don't know why anyone would want to do that. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to finish my career somewhere else. I'm moving on, whatever. It's just, I wouldn't be doing it. I don't know. That's crazy to me.
No, you're right, but here's the question I'll pose back to you, both of you, and I brought this up yesterday. Even if it's a mutual situation, let's look at them individually. Mitch Marner, let's remove emotion. Let's remove the last 2 weeks of what we saw, okay? He's a hell of a hockey player, like a hell of a hockey player. He's a superstar. He's been an all-star. He's done all of this stuff. Yes, he makes a lot of money, but his production matches his money in the regular season. So, I've read, and this is just emotion, where people you just got to move him out just for the sake of. No, you don't. He's a huge asset. So you have to take a look at it. If you make the decision that he's going to be moved and he decides that he wants to, I think return is key. And it's not just cap space, because you got to replace a superstar. You got to replace a top tier player, and your team is weaker on paper because of it, unless you find the right fit.
You got to come to terms that that's not happening. You're not going to get fair value in a deal like that. That's
I
just
understand
a fact.
that. Okay, but that's what I'm saying right now. While it's still hot, the burning is still upset, the emotions are still involved. This can't be Taylor Hall for Adam Larson type of situation, because we need a defenseman and we're going to move. You've got to be careful here. This kid's he's 27. He's a hell of a player. So you've got to be mindful. That's what I'm talking about. I think when you just let things play out, you got to see what he's going to do. If you trade him, is it a sign and trade? Because maybe that adds to the value. What is he going to be asking for? There's a lot to unpack here, and you're not going to be able to do that in 48 hours. I think you have to let cooler minds. That's where I was going with you, Brian.
None of this is happening until the summer.
Right.
And there's a lot of different layers to it. You're right, I think human nature would be, if you sniff out that they don't want you anymore, you're not a part of the program, I think the majority of people would say, okay, then get me out of here.
Let's figure out a way.
But I'm going to control it naturally. That goes without saying. This is not a scenario where we have if I'm speaking as the Maple Leafs, you have carte blanche. You have none of it.
No, right. But the idea of saying, Hayes, I'm not going anywhere, that
seems silly, but it may be the case. I mean, go talk to what's his name down in Torrey Krug. Torrey Krug in St. Louis, not going anywhere, not interested. I set up. These guys are local guys. These guys are John Tavares has a wife and kids. His kids are in school. You think he's just going to say, okay, fine, thanks, guys, because you want to move off me, I'll go play in Utah? No. That. Right. I don't know if that's going to happen. And John's different too. And we're speculating. We don't know what the Leafs are going to do here. We don't know what the Leafs' plan is. We don't know how the Leafs are going to approach it. But let's play hypothetical. John Tavares, we got to move. Or we're going to move off you next year. So can you do us a favor here and allow us to move you before then? I don't know how he's going to react. He may say absolutely not, or he may hardball you and say, I'm only going to do it with an extension the next place, and they better pay up. And why would they do that? Why would the next place give him $10 million, or something like that? Like that. This is where
$10 million.
Wow. Dude, but if you're John Tavares, why would you accept anything unless there's something in it for you? Why would you do that? Like, because the Leafs want you to?
No, I've always said, and there's this point to it, when you throw in the no trade, no movement, don't be shocked. Yeah, don't be shocked because it's the player's right. You gave it to him.
Yep.
When they say, don't even approach me with. I would have it in my contract. It's in there, and don't ever ask me about it. I'll ask you maybe, but you're never asking me about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
that's the right of the player.
Things change over time. Like, keep in mind, like, John has been here 6 years, correct? This would be year 7 coming up. Like, they've gotten a pretty good chunk out of him. Like, they've gotten, the first year was probably the best, right? 47 goals off the top of my head.
He was great. Yeah. Yep.
But he's been a point-a-game guy. He's been, a great citizen. We established all that yesterday. These are great people. These are good people by all accounts. You just got to put your business hat on and say, what are we doing moving forward? And we'd like to do this. I think there's preliminary conversations saying, but this is maybe what we're going to find out we won't find this out on Friday, but is there a plan moving forward? Because if Brendan Shanahan and Keith Pelly and Brad Treliving are sitting down on Friday, obviously they've had several discussions. If Brendan Shanahan is still in the mix, it looks like he's not going anywhere. So he's probably had to sell to Keith Pelly, this is the plan moving forward. And this is what we are going to do. Because Keith Pelly has to be satisfied that Shanny is the guy to steer it out of where they are right now. Correct? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
no.
That? If he's around, whoever's in charge you have to build up. You got to prove to the people that work above you that this is what you're doing. I mean, Shanahan's not immune to that. Every GM, president in the league has to do that. Whether it's a solo owner or a board or a president, CEO, of course he's got to do that. But I mean, they know what's coming. They know someone's going to ask the core four, are you going to break it up? Like that needs to be basically the first question. Right. Deadpan. Core four, will they return? Yes or no? And that's how you'll get your answer. Right. It's and if they say no, then it's pretty simple to do the math. That means they have to go. They're going to one of Marner or Tavares and saying, you have to go. Right. But I'm not sure they're going to answer it. I'm not sure. I don't think they will. I think, if anything, they'll say we're still assessing. They'll have some cop-out. They'll have some runaround answer. Hey, we're still evaluating, and we got good players here, and they're good people. All that kind of stuff. So I'm not even sure what we're going to get out of Friday.
But they might say that.
Probably
Brian.
not much. Not much.
Maybe not.
You're right. But they might say that because they don't know the answer because of what we just laid out. If Brendan Shanahan and Brad Treliving had laid out to Keith Pelly, we are going to move player X, player Y, and obviously if it's Marner or Tavares or something like that, we just laid out. They control their own destiny.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't be we're going to move Noodles. It would be try or ask.
Yeah, I guess the way around that maybe as we think on the fly as if we're interviewing here is, are you willing to do anything to win? Including show you're not loyal, you don't have to be loyal, you'll be ruthless. Like, that's ultimately what I think Leaf fans want to hear. That's what they want to hear. If these guys have figured it out, they step up there and say, there is no one that's more important than winning a championship. And then if you say that includes Matthews. That includes Marner. Because guess what? Right. We've said this forever. If Edmonton calls you today and says, I'll go McDavid for Matthews straight up, you drive Auston to Pearson and shake his hand and say thank you for everything, because McDavid's McDavid. Right. Now, there's very few trades like that. Maybe only one. Maybe McCarr. Maybe But the point being is, are you going to do what Vegas has done? I can't believe I keep referencing them, but they deserve it. They deserve this reference.
It's still crazy, though. It's still crazy. It's a reference in that respect.
They Marc-Andre Fleury, thanks for coming out. James Neal, great year. You sold 1 million jerseys. We're not even bringing you back year 2. Like, they are ruthless. Ruthless. Riley Smith, thanks for the cup. You're out. Barbashev's here. Like, that's the attitude that is tough to accept if you're not a Vegas fan, if you're a fan of a long-standing team, and these guys have been here for 7 years. But that's what I think Leaf fans, the ones I'm talking to, that's all they're asking for. Prove that the only thing that matters, your only focus is winning a cup, not just making the playoffs, not having stars, not selling jerseys, not proving that, hey, these guys like it here and that means something. Who cares anymore? That mattered for a while. It doesn't anymore. It's been 8 years. It doesn't anymore. Like that's and if they've read the room, they'll, I think, acknowledge that. That doesn't mean that you're putting your cards on the table. No one expects that. They're not going to come out and say we're doing this, that, or the other, nor should they. Like they're not going to do that. But at least the three of them, Pelly, Shanahan, and Tree Living, if they're all going to be a part of the program moving forward, I would, if I was running their PR, I would suggest they go out there and be passionate about that. Acknowledge that you will do anything. And you'll hurt feelings. And that's where it comes back to the no movement clause, which is sticky because they gave it to these guys and the players. They have the union behind them, and there's only so much you can do. But I know other teams would ask. I know and let's call it what it is. Robidas Island exists. That was a creation of here. Do you think that was nice to those guys?
No.
They went to them and said, you're not playing anymore. You're gone. See you later. Was that nice? Yeah. No. So why does Marner and Tavares get treated like gods?
I was thinking the exact same thing
when
the
the guys
day.
When Shanahan showed up 10 years ago, he had no problem telling players, you don't play here anymore. You're out. You're out. You're gone. Robidas Island.
Now that you bring it up, like remember, I still laugh about this. I bring this up all the time. Remember Jared Cowan was in that trade and like hip tightness gone. Babs is literally straight faced into the camera going, yeah, there's been some hip tightness there.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, Joffrey. I know what Nazem just said, tightness. But no, you're not playing anymore. Yeah,
remember Nas? He was like, "Man, is he flying out there?"
Yeah, looks great. Looks unreal.
Exactly. No, he's flying,
and I guess that's where it comes down to, where they've created an environment where it's, by all accounts, class across the board, which I think is important. Treating people properly, I think, is a positive and a good thing. I'm not suggesting being, so callous and dark and just, but what's important? Is it the team and winning, or is it the egos of the players, or the players' relationship with with the city and the team and all that? I think it's got to be the former, and we'll see if they can pull that off.
People are pointing to, the Muskoka. What was it? The Muskoka 5 or Muskoka whatever that was.
It's amazing how it could come back around. Will
Muskoka
you wave?
5.
Nope. Absolutely not.
Wasn't Ugly Face one of them? He was one of them, wasn't he?
I think Kaber and Tux was in there for sure.
But did they ever explain
Sundin
I don't know if they've ever publicly explained what the deal was.
It was just a figure of speech of the old, the old guard.
Yeah.
They didn't want to leave, which again was a compliment to the Leafs and being.
It was the funniest thing you got.
Maple Leafs. It was so silly. But
well, it is. But you can't. The other thing, this is why I want to come back to it is, Mitch Marner is a hell of a player, and it's just I don't think there's difference between where JT's at and where Mitch Marner's at in their careers as far as their upside, the potential, all of that. So it's just, I think once cooler heads prevail, you've got to look at what's best for the organization. I think that, Brian, where you've nailed it the last 2 days, is it's not about the name on the back. It's, hey, this guy sold jerseys, this guy, it's about how are you going to ice the best team to try and win a Stanley Cup in the next couple years, next 3, 4, whatever it is, whatever you believe the window is, the next, we'll call it Shanna plan if you believe that this one is not still being executed.
Which, again, I understand why if Marner would hear that, if that's what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to do that. I'm saying I would like to see them do that. I don't know if they'll do that. I would have liked to have seen them implement that years ago. When Lamoriello showed up, that's what he implemented, and he had to go because he was too tough, right? And the players didn't like him. So he had to go so that everyone could get the greatest deal in NHL history. And I'm sure what Marner's thinking is, wait a minute, why would the buck stop now with me? He just gave Willie a great deal. He just gave Austin wrote his own ticket. Yeah. Now you're going to start hardballing if that happens, which, again, it should have happened the first time. This is what it always comes back to.
It's not even about hardballing, Hayes. It's about the proof is in the pudding that 4 guys on one team making that much money does not work. We, for years, said which team with a $10 million guy is going to win a cup. And Jack Eichel was the first one.
Yep.
He was the first one, and they've got 4.
Well, and you look at the playoffs right now. I saw someone post that last night. I wish I saved it. I don't think I did. Where you have Florida, who have, I believe, 2 guys making 10, right? It's Bobrovsky
and Barkov.
Is Barkov making 10?
I don't think Barkov's at 10.
He might not. Kachuk's
at
9.5.
Like 8 something.
Yeah. I know Bobrovsky's at 10 for sure.
Yeah, that's all they have.
And then you have Boston's got 1 with Pasternak. Shout out to the Bruins. They looked pretty good last night.
Oh, there was a bad
Interesting what happened there. Your Panthers were brutal last night. Boston destroyed them.
I swear to God, somebody misconstrued my talking.
Oh, really?
That's what I called. 5-1. I said it yesterday. 5-1.
5-1 Florida is what you said.
Yes, you said that they are. I said,
you're right.
No, I said I believe we got to roll the tape because you said we're going to roll it at 4.
You guys
4
are fraudulent if you thought I said Bruins win 5-1. I called Florida, and some guy tweeted me today, you better explain yourself. I sent him a DM. I said, what am I explaining? That's what I called. So let's get the
Bruins
fact.
won last night.
The Bruins won.
What are you talking about?
You didn't call the Bruins winning 5-1
you said
last
the
night. I called the Bruins
You
winning.
called the Bruins big. We have it. All right, JP.
Yes.
Let's go to the tape from yesterday.
I don't know what kind of hockey analyst you are. There's no way in hell the Boston Bruins win tonight.
They can win tonight. I mean, they're not a bad team.
How many
they're a good team.
How many?
Yeah. And it went on and on. And then Noodles was like, I like the Bruins tonight. I'll tell you what, Jeremy Swayman, he may ride them all.
No, they'll go to the finals,
Cup
bud.
final,
They'll go to the finals. They're going to the finals.
The Leafs, and what might get referenced on Friday is that last year Florida went to the Cup final, and in 22 the Lightning went to the Cup final, and 21 the Habs went to the Cup final,
13
and
the Bruins went to the
13
final.
the Bruins did, in 18 or 19 the Bruins did. Like, you know, it's like 5 or 6 of the last times they've been knocked out of the playoffs, those teams have gone on all the way to a Cup final. But as for players making 10 plus, Pasternak's making 10 plus, and then there's like no one else, no one on Dallas. Top guys are making like 9.5.
Yeah.
You go down. There's no one yet on Vancouver. Pettersson will get there, but not yet. And Edmonton's got 1. That's it. Every other team basically has 1 or none. For the most
and we're
part.
Talking
Carolina
4.
doesn't have any.
We're talking 4 and 1 going up to 13 next year.
The Rangers have 1. Panarin's making 11.
Yeah, so it's not about making people go away. There's not enough money to have other good players.
Exactly.
Do you notice at the deadline they never acquire a Barbashev or a quality? It's all like depth pieces all the time. It's because there's no money. Goaltending, no money. There's no money for anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're dealing with a finite cap. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, and again, a lot of it's the undoing of the Leafs, because if they negotiated properly the first time when they were RFAs and these guys hadn't won anything, they wouldn't be in this situation. But they are. Ultimately, it's all self-inflicted. Like, there was no team on earth should have given Mitch Marner $10.9 million per year when he'd been in the league for 3 years and hadn't won anything. It was insane. And like 2 days later, Rantanen signed for $9 million or something.
Yeah, just over 9.
Yeah, it was like, what? You paid this guy $2 million more than he was supposed to. And he didn't even get an 8-year deal. And you gave him a no move and a no trade, like all that kind of stuff. And I don't blame the player. He's allowed to ask for whatever he wants.
Yeah, because he got it. That's why he asked for it.
It's not It's not Mitch's fault. Mitch is like, this is what I'm looking for. I think he played his hand poorly, the way it went, and what got out publicly, and he wasn't at camp on time, and
played his hand. He just said one thing: it's better be almost the same as that guy. Because look at the numbers. I'm the one that passes him the puck, and I got more points total, and they did it.
Well,
they did it because they thought they'd win by now. Right? That's ultimately what it comes down to. They thought the first. That's why, again, and I know we're going around in circles. Even Tavares is probably sitting there saying, why are you yelling at me? What did you think I was going to give you? Like, I gave you 5 great years, and now 2 I'm going to give you as much as I can. I haven't changed. I'm not hurt all the time. I'm not a bad guy. I work my ass off.
Yeah.
Like, John's just John. Like, that's what Tavares, he's just the same guy. He's sure he doesn't have the same foot speed, not going to put up the same numbers. But what did you expect? Of course, everyone knew the last 2 years it was going to fade a bit, and that's what's happened.
But you'd be fine with it if there was some deep runs in that window of the 5 years.
That's the issue
right?
for all of them.
That's the issue with everybody. It's like if you had reference and you start looking at, when's the last Ottawa had a run in 2017? The Habs had their, a couple of years ago. Like there has been some teams, I think Vancouver in the bubble made it to the conference finals. Edmonton's won a couple rounds. Like, Winnipeg, same thing, like sniffed around. It's the Leafs that haven't had theirs. Outside of everybody else has had some form of a run in the window or close to the window that we're talking about, that 8 years.
Yeah.
Correct?
Exactly. At least to the conference final or, if not beyond that. Game 1, Edmonton, Vancouver goes tomorrow night. We got the draft lottery tonight. John Buccigross tweeted something out and then deleted it. That's not going to cause a storm. We'll tell you.
Oh, my God. What was it? Tell me.
No, I tweeted out a board that had the Sharks winning it, Utah number 2.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
And then he deleted it, and now everyone's trying to say, no, I don't think they've done it yet. They'll do it later, which maybe it isn't accurate. Maybe it was just like a dummy board.
Well, it's kind of a setup, and maybe they're spinning stuff. But it
kind of feels like that's it, and they're preparing it for TV, and it's like Celebrety's going.
Did anything change, though? Like, I can't read it from that tweet. But
what was Utah moved up. Which, again, is
God.
really shady. Utah's 2 now, the old wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
We can't make you number 1. That would be too shady. But, in this case, I guess Montreal moves down a little bit.
So what are those teams? Is that like a dry run or something?
It could just be a dry run, them working out the board. It could be. It may be, but Buccigross.
Man, if that's the actual order, dude.
Yeah, it's troublesome. We'll break the whole thing down. We'll tell you how it looks. We got a new man in charge in Ottawa, our boy Travis Green, friend of the show.
Yeah.
So, Greeny's in Ottawa. Jason York will join us to talk about that, among other things. Chris Pronger coming up today. We got confirm or deny. The Jays are in Philly. The Phillies are so good.
Oh, man.
They're so good.
This sounds like a massacre in
It's
Broad
tough.
Street.
Yeah, it's really not a good time to be in Philly. So they got Philly for a 2-game series. So we'll look ahead to that with Steve Phillips. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We've got Chris Pronger in about a half an hour. Confirm or deny still to come. Got the Jays back in action tonight. Jamal Murray could be in trouble. I haven't seen any news on him throwing heat pads onto the court last night. It's a weird form of protest.
But what, did it hit somebody or like?
No, it just landed on the floor, but everyone believes he was acting all pissy about the refs and was kind of throwing, he thought there was contact and he was probably yelling at the refs and, he did it multiple times. And I think even Draymond Green, if I have this right, is like, you can't do that, man.
Oh, my God.
And if Draymond is not in your corner, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And they're down 0-2, man. Like Minnesota, your boy Anthony Edwards went in there with Karl Anthony Towns and put on a clinic.
Yeah.
Like they held them to 80 points last night. Like they're really playing well. Minnesota's up 2-0 going home. So, that is concerning for Jamal Murray, especially if he gets suspended. But, we'll see what ends up coming out of that. Nathan Rourke was, as we know, released by the Patriots, I think late last week or earlier this week, and he's been claimed by the Giants. So Danny Dimes might have some competition with our boy Nathan Rourke. We love hearing that. So, he's been claimed by the Giants. That's according to the nail gun, Dave Naylor. The coaching carousel in the NHL is starting to kind of pick up some steam, right? Bannister down in St. Louis he had the interim tag taken off. And it became official today. Travis Green has signed a 4-year deal in Ottawa. And I saw immediately stuff trending from his time in Toronto when he jumped into the bench. I remember Tux jumped into the bench and Greeny's just going nuts. That'll go over well, I'm sure, in Ottawa.
I thought it was funny because didn't they say the last time Travis Green was on the Senators bench or something? I can't remember how it was, on a bench or something against it had him just firing into the. I forgot about that, but Tux was right in the middle of it.
Too, he got suspended, I think, for a pretty good amount of time for that move. But here's a guy that's familiar with playing for Ottawa, familiar with the Battle of Ontario, And he's former NHLer, former Ottawa Senator, and co-host of the Coming in Hot podcast. Here's Jason York. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, I'm good, Hazy. How are you guys doing?
We're doing really well. We're excited for Travis Green. He's a friend of the show, former teammate of both of these guys, and he's in Ottawa. What do you make of this move for the Sens?
Well, I played a lot against Greener. We came in kind of around the same time. He was actually playing for New York's farm team, Capital District Islanders, and I was in Adirondack, and we had some pretty good battles back in the day. But it seems to me there's kind of a trend going on. Don't you think, guys? You look like a certain type of coach, around 50 years old. You look at Bannister. I listened in there. He got the interim tag taken off. You look at Knobloch having some success right now in Edmonton. It's kind of like that hybrid guy, like a little bit of a player's coach, but also a guy that can hold you accountable. So, I don't know a lot about Travis as a coach, but from what I'm hearing, he's kind of that hybrid type of guy that can do a little bit of both for you.
Yorkie, is it a pretty simple message where these young guys, they've kind of got it all? They've got the long contracts, they've got big money, and now it's about, much like what we're talking about here in Toronto, they've got to find a way to start winning some hockey games because it's not about 100 points. It's not about getting your cookies. They got to get a puck in and get a puck out and win a game and get a save for the most part.
100% agree, Hodog. It's Ottawa, a little bit of a reputation, I think, the last few years of being a little bit of a country club where the players just look at Toronto right now. Sooner or later, it comes down to the players. And Ottawa and Toronto are at different stages right now, but I still think there's going to be tons of change in the summer. Ottawa's going to, I think this new group here with Stevie Stais and Poulin, they're going to make some major changes to change the makeup of this team for Travis Green. But at the end of the day, we all know this, you got Noodles played, Jeff, you played. It comes down to the players. You have to grow up. You have to start doing the little things that it takes to win. And that has to happen because it doesn't really matter who your coach is unless players start playing the right way. Look at the playoffs right now. The teams that are still there, they're all playing that style you need in order to win in the league now.
Yeah, Yorkie, I do. I played with Greeny on Capital District. We had some battles there in Adirondack.
Noodles, hang on. We do have to mention, Yorkie, that Bryan played as well in UHL.
Bryan played in junior, right? Remember that.
Please don't exclude me. Please do not exclude me from your analysis.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I can't believe I dogged you like that.
You should know that.
All right. We all
DB.
play.
Anyway, sorry, Noodles. Go ahead.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead,
going to say,
Noodles.
back then there were some battles. I want to go back to Greeny. I felt like, and I don't know, you could speak to it more being in the market, it felt like it was a 50-50 kind of lukewarm reception for Greeny in the hire. There were other names out there, and when he was announced, people were saying, okay, well, where was Berube? Where was McLellan? Where was Evison and all of that? Take us through the reaction of the market, because I agree. I think Greeny's a good coach and he's going to have success there. But again, I'm biased. I played with him. I'm friends with him. Talk about the reaction there in the market.
I think you're being kind by saying lukewarm. And I don't know. You take social media with a grain of salt, right? You look, but most of the reaction on Twitter and everything, I think people in Ottawa really had their hopes up. Everybody had on their card they wanted Berube here, and who knows? I keep hearing he's going to be in Toronto. We'll see where he ends up, but I think that's just a little bit of the aftermath of that. They wanted Berube, and it's the same thing. I'll go back to when Brady Tkachuk was drafted. Everybody, why do we got Brady Tkachuk? What do we got Brady Tkachuk for? Hey, turns out Brady Tkachuk's a pretty good player after all. So I think when the dust settles here, fellas, it's going to be, let's see what Travis could do here. And you know how markets are, especially Canadian markets. Everyone's quick to judge. We'll see. Like I said earlier, who knew that Chris Knobloch was going to come in and have the best record in the NHL? And the guy's never coached a lick in the NHL, right? I know he's got McDavid and Draisaitl, but still, you don't know until the coach gets to work and sees how he can get his team to play. So it's unfortunately everyone's going to have to wait till October rolls around and then we'll see what happens, right?
with Jason York on the hiring of Travis Green in Ottawa, and you referenced it. It's a dangerous game, trying to get a true read on anything based on social media and Twitter in particular. But my read on it from afar is not so much about Travis Green. It's more about this new owner that they are, Sens fans are praying this guy will spend and will turn over every leaf because of what just went down with Melnyk for a long time. And, I get that sense, Jason, that it's not even about Green. It's like, well, did you not get Berube because you wouldn't pay for Berube? Like, speak to that kind of anxiety or concern in the marketplace and PTSD, so to speak, based on what they just went through with Melnyk and the fact that he didn't spend money, and we all know his history. Like, is that a part of the reaction that Sens fans want this new owner to be crazy, to be Mark Cuban-like, and just spend like crazy and do everything you possibly can to win? And if he's not willing to do that, or maybe if that factored in at all to the coaching search, that could lead to some of the reaction.
I think it's like all Canadian markets. I just think everyone's so quick to judge, right? Mm-hmm. And anyone that's comparing Melnyk to Michael Andlauer, well, I think they're way offside on that one.
Right.
Because since he's come in, like I was at his first press conference, it's a total different mood around the team right now, the way they're doing stuff. And it's airtight now, too. Under Dorian and Melnyk, stuff was being leaked out all the time. Now you're not hearing stuff anymore, which I think is good. Like, people don't have to know everything right away. But, that comparison, I don't see it that way. I'm of the mind, let's wait and see. Hey, let's see what happens here. There's a lot of comparisons. The thing that's got people ticked off right now is they're all saying, well, what's the difference between Travis Green and DJ Smith? Well, to me, that's also an unfair comparison. And I just look at how Ottawa's built. I don't think it would have mattered who coached the Ottawa Senators the last couple of years. The team just wasn't built properly. And Noodles, you did a lot of the games. You look at the defense, the lack of a veteran presence up front besides Claude Giroux. Didn't really get any saves the last 3-4 years. So I don't think it matters who coached that team the last little while. They weren't going to win. I think what's really important is, like what I said earlier, they need to make some prudent moves this summer. Right shot D that plays defense first, a couple older forwards that play 200-foot games, and who knows with the goaltending situation. Noodles, you'd know better than me, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe another goaltender was brought in if they can do that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yorkie, we appreciate you doing this, buddy, but before we get you out of here, I got to ask you, are you on the bench playing co-ed softball right now, or where are you right now?
Oh, dog, I'm doing something that I know you're a big fan of right now. I'm on the pickleball court.
Pickleball, I knew it. I was thinking the same thing. I heard the back and forth.
You're sadly mistaken if you think I'm a fan of that. We have to go, actually.
Come on, buddy. I can see you out here.
No.
Hey, listen, you're over 50 now, aren't you?
No, I'm 48 years old, and I don't care if I'm 70. I'll never play that sport.
Oh, bud, it's a huge dust up out here today at the Britannia Yacht Club.
We couldn't tell you were doing something outdoors. We really couldn't.
I thought you were playing croquet or something.
Listen, I've taken some time off. I'm playing the champ here, my buddy Paul, in about 5 minutes, so I got to get warmed up.
Good luck, pal. Good luck.
Keep us posted, Yorkie. We want to know the whole update later on. Please let us know how it goes.
I will. See you, fellas.
All right, buddy. That's
Thanks,
Jason York, longtime NHLer, host of the Coming In Hot podcast. I wrote down pickleball. I was like, pickleball, man. It's not golf. He's playing pickleball right now.
First, I thought he was bird watching because it was like...
Yeah, it was a Masters type vibe.
Yeah, and then it was like, he's teeing it. I hear golf balls or something, but he's playing pickleball. He's sitting right in front of a pickleball court or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't think he wasn't playing because he wasn't like breathing heavily or anything like that. But
no, but he's 1 inch from the court.
Yeah, the boys are warming up like right in front of him.
Isn't that where Craig Button got the black eye from? Remember he showed up with a black eye on TV? Yeah. Everyone's like, what happened? He was a pickleball injury.
Right.
Like,
I don't remember what he was playing pickleball. I don't know if he took a racket off the face or what. Yeah. But it was vicious, man. Like Craig's face was mashed up.
Yeah.
Pickleball's blowing up, man.
Pickleball seems to be just a slower tennis match, right?
That's exactly what it is. It's kind of ping pong and tennis
Yeah,
kind of morphing into one.
I'd like to play it. It looks
It's
like
all right. It's all right. I've played it. It's okay.
Do you have any interest in doing it a second time?
No, it's not something that I'm particularly interested in, but it is exploding in terms of popularity.
Massive. Good luck to all the participants out there. I hope you all win the world championship in pickleball.
Well, it's a big scene with tennis players, right? Because their turf is being taken over. Like people are changing tennis courts into pickleball courts, and people are really taking issue with that. What a battle. What a battle.
Yeah.
Tennis players and pickleball players.
Yeah.
I feel pickleball players would win that because most of them probably drink
grinders.
and smoke.
They don't need to go that far.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like that's the sport for them because it's just slightly slowed down. There's the black guy from Craig. Like, that was a serious injury. Like,
yeah. I don't know if he fell. Maybe he fell. Maybe he was like diving for a ball or something. But anyway, Pronger coming up. Chris will join us in 20 minutes. We have the NHL Draft Lottery tonight. We got 2 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Game 2, Carolina, New York. Before there's even a Game 1, Edmonton, Vancouver. You got Dallas, Colorado tonight. That's going to be a great game tonight. NBA playoffs continuing. The Jays are down in Philly playing the Phillies. So we got a lot to get to today, including confirm or deny later this afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Chris Pronger will join us in about 15 minutes. Good guest to have on today, considering, he went second overall and draft lottery tonight. He won a Hart Trophy. The Hart finalists were announced today. And we've been wondering for months who's going to be the odd man out. It was a 4-man race. And I guess the hits just keep coming because Matthews is the odd man out. It's McDavid, Kucherov, and McKinnon that are the 3 finalists for the Hart.
Isn't that crazy? So there's a lot of thoughts, and I think I was basically on board. Get to 70, you're a slam dunk winner regardless of what anyone else does. 69 goals, not even in the top 3.
Yeah, I think that would suggest even if he hit 70, he wouldn't be in it. Like, I would. Why would that make one goal make a difference between winning it and not even being nominated?
Do you think if he hit 70, that one goal would
I don't
replace
think so.
McDavid?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Why would, because I agree with you in
Guys,
terms of...
my point is it's just a lot of goals in this league.
Yes, I agree. Someone was going to get screwed here. Someone was going to get screwed, and it's him. And I think he's got a legitimate beef. I know it's going to be, Leaf fans. Guy's up for the Selke, and he scored 69 goals. It's difficult to explain how you're not up for the Hart. Yeah. If you're one of the 3 best defensive players in the game or defensive forwards,
you laid it
plus
out,
69
Hayes.
goals.
You laid it out. There's 4 players that are just way better than everyone else. Yeah. Extraordinarily impressive seasons, and one guy's going to be left out.
One guy was going to be out.
One
guy was going to be out, and it's Matthews. And it's difficult to really determine who should come out of the 3. That's the thing about the practice. I mean, they all deserve to be nominated. They all deserve to be a finalist. They all deserve to win it. Like any other individual year, you could look at it and say that guy should win the Hart. You look over the last 15 or 20 years, you could find different years where the way they played, their statistics, the numbers they put up, what they meant to their team this year compared to, I'm not going to pick out individual guys that have won it in the past, but clearly these seasons were greater than a lot of other seasons. It's like the draft. Sometimes you get the first pick and there's no one there. Sometimes you get the first pick and there's 5 guys there. And, you got to make the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, if you look at the voting, I guarantee you he's 4th. But it's, it sucks for him. But you look back at it, I think he's, probably not thinking about that today. He's watching Boston play last night and win and going, man, I was hoping that would be me, and that type of stuff. The individual accolades, like at some point I would have, I would like the McKinnon speech from him to go, I've been in this league and got all, everything, but I haven't won what I've wanted to win.
Noodles, what about this? I'm a firm believer. And by the way, I've been getting some messages where people are like, who do you think you are? You act like you won 5 cups. I didn't. I went to the finals once. A lot of what my analysis is based on sitting beside Ron Francis for 5 years, who is the 2nd leading scorer of all time in the history of the game. And I've seen teams win. I pay attention. I watch. I know how to study things. So a lot of what my analysis is about is what I watch.
Yeah.
So it's just like the difference of hating losing. Like, nobody just says, instead of saying, oh, you know what, we're close and we just got, no one says, I hate this. It makes me sick. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, we're close. Like, we just got to break through the barrier. No one says, this feeling makes me sick. And I think there's a big difference, man. Like, everyone enjoys winning. Everyone does. You win, it's great. But does it really make you sick losing? And I wasn't like Gary Roberts combined with Wendell Clark and Steve Thomas. Sometimes you just lose, but you got to hate it. Like, you got to hate doing it. And no one says, I can't stand this feeling. It makes me sick to my stomach, and I never want to feel it again. It's like, now we're close, and if we have our structure together and we execute. What are you talking about? Do you hate this or not? Because it's so by the book, their exits. It's just like,
It's polished. Yeah, it's polished. You know?
But it's just so matter of fact. It's like, does anyone just say F this? Like, I never want to feel this again, and I'm going to do everything in my power when we get back. It's never that. It's just so matter of fact where it's like, yeah, you know, we love him, and we're trying. There's a scapegoat. That scapegoat comment yesterday was insane.
Yeah.
It's so an insane comment when you don't get by the first round. You did it one time. All people do in the media, and I say that because I'm in the media now, we just talk about what happens, and you lose every year, and you get paid a bunch of money to win. There's no scapegoat. What are you talking about? That's insane talk.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it has, like, what the media.
What scapegoat are you talking about?
No bearing on how they're going to play. I mean, that's ultimately what, like, you know, the media's going to do whatever they're going to, and it's a massive media, you know, conglomeration up here. People have
but we're not
views,
digging for
approaches.
A scapegoat. It's not the case.
No, I hear
Sorry,
you, but you know, and again, it's not. There's different levels of it too, right? Like Mitch Marner is a superstar. You can't compare it to a guy on a fourth line that people didn't like. You know, they're not all the same. The reaction to it all, and yeah, people are disappointed. And again, it's that has nothing to do with what you're saying. Everyone loves to win. How many people hate to lose? You know, but who cares what the media and the fans are thinking or saying or analysis? You know, it doesn't matter. What are you going to do about it? You're the players. Chris Pronger still to come. Confirm or deny coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.